This statement, recently released by NBA 2K, it says 2K is the undisputed home of basketball gaming. We have a strong history with college hoops and are exploring exciting new ways to bring athletes and schools to life. Classes in session. I bet you guys are thinking that NBA 2K is about to drop a college basketball simulation as well. We're about to get into all the details. If any of you guys are new here, consider dropping a like and a sub. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's get to the video. I mean, who wouldn't want to get in on the action? A college basketball game is going to have a significant impact on the sports gaming industry. Very similar to what college football 25 did to sports gaming. The #1 selling sports game in gaming history. In fact, the only game that sold more than college football 25 was Call of Duty. EA pretty much abandoned basketball gaming, or they may have been forced out of creating basketball games. Their last release was NBA Live 19. After the success of college football 25, the CLC, the college licensing company, sent out a proposal to a bunch of publishers, asking if they'd be interested in creating a college basketball game. 3 publishers submitted their bids. And the way this works is they pretty much go in front of a committee, and then after they, offer their proposal, they then go under review and the committee decides who wins the bid. It just so happens that EA won the bid for the next and new college basketball game. 3 companies bidded for the opportunity to create a basketball game, but EA won. And you guys could bet your bottom dollar that 2K was one of those companies that submitted a bid. So I got to thinking, how did 2K, the #1 basketball simulation company out there, the only basketball simulation option for gamers, how did 2K manage to drop the ball to win the bid on creating the new college basketball game? Moreover, how did they lose to EA? But don't get me wrong here, that's not to say that EA is incapable of creating a game, a basketball simulation game that can compete with 2K, but I'm thinking 2K had to do something terribly wrong in losing that bid to one of their most formidable opponents. When it comes to basketball simulation, it's always been EA with NBA Live or 2K with NBA 2K. I imagine the CLC, the college licensing company, wanted to go with a publisher that had their best interests in mind, bringing more fans to the sport of college basketball. I imagine they sought out a publisher that could recreate the success that college football had in sports gaming. I imagine some of you guys may be watching and saying, well, NBA 2K, they probably have the best opportunity to bring more fans to college basketball. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole, wondering why did the college licensing committee choose EA over 2K? In regards to sales, 2K is known for bringing in that money, and they also have connections and ties and also a new partnership with the NBA. In fact, 2K just recently, this year, signed a new licensing agreement with the NBA and also created a new partnership company called NBA Take-Two Media. I'm sure they plan to do big things. But still, with all this in mind, the college licensing committee still chose to go with EA over 2K. There had to be something, either in the way in which they proposed their bid, or maybe the CLC, the college licensing company, saw how players are feeling about the direction 2K is taking gameplay and the way in which they conduct business with their player base. Over the last couple years in particular, 3 major news media outlets have released unfavorable articles about NBA 2K. The New York Times, the Washington Post, and Vice. The New York Times releasing this article, "When sports games feel like casinos, players rarely win. Popular franchises like NBA 2K, FC, and Madden entice players to keep spending. Critics say it's ruining gaming." And this next article from the Washington Post, "NBA 2K mega fans are preparing to leave the game behind. Fans are concerned that developers for the game aren't listening to their concerns." And lastly, this article from Vice, titled "NBA 2K and the 2K stands for dollars. The NBA 2K series is well known for its gameplay. Unfortunately, in recent years, it's become known for aggressive monetization practices." There's a lot of viewers out there that think that I oftentimes just complain about NBA 2K. But complaining is not my end goal. It's facts. I'm bothered about the direction that NBA 2K chose to take. My once beloved basketball franchise has now seemingly prioritized monetization over gameplay development. And monetization is so deeply ingrained into gameplay development that NBA 2K 2K gameplay is nothing like it once was. And this sentiment is shared amongst countless players. Is it possible that the college licensing company, during their committee review on the 3 companies that submitted formal bids for creating a college basketball game, noticed that the player base is unhappy with NBA 2K's gameplay direction and how they choose to conduct business with their player base? Let me show you guys some. I'll pull up this snippet. It says, according to the CLC memo, the college licensing company memo, it says EA Sports proposed a more unique arrangement. While EA retains the rights to publish a college basketball game every single year, they are only promising to publish at least 3 games. In the event that EA waits a year before releases, the company will put out roster updates as downloadable content. Oftentimes, the complaints from 2K players is that 2K kind of needs to wait a year before they kind of release the game. It shouldn't be released on an annual cycle. And that's mainly because, one, we're lacking improvements to gameplay, and oftentimes 2K has been accused of taking advantage of copy and pasting, introducing the new 2K and forcing us to buy the new version of 2K because they'll be cutting off service to the older versions of 2K. I find it ironic that this was even a topic of conversation that came up during the committee review. It seemed like the CLC, they kind of just get it. They didn't want this to just be a money grab for any sports gaming publishers out there. I imagine 2K, in their arrogance, probably just kind of strutted into the office thinking that it was hands down gonna be their win. And it seems like the CLC said, nah, we're good, 2K. Something else that I found very interesting, it says this memo also states that EA is requiring an exclusive license for action simulation rights. And this will likely mean that both companies, EA and 2K, they cannot create competing titles. There is an option for 2K to create a more arcade-style college basketball game. Another publisher could potentially make an action game that wasn't meant to be a simulation, like an NBA Jam sort of game, or perhaps like a management simulator. But EA has the exclusive license for action simulation, similar to what 2K has with the NBA. Considering that NBA 2K sent out this statement saying 2K is the undisputed home of basketball gaming, we have a strong history of college hoops and are exploring exciting new ways to bring athletes and schools to life. Capping off this statement saying classes in session, looks like 2K may consider going the route of like an action style NBA Jam sort of game for college basketball. The thought is just speculation. Maybe 2K, they just wanted to get in on the hype that EA brought when they announced they're making the college basketball game. 2K, they most certainly petty like that. After all this information that you guys have heard up until this point in the video, I'm curious to know how many of you guys think NBA 2K should have gotten the license for a new and upcoming college basketball game. Your thoughts are always appreciated. Definitely share it in the comment section below. Thinking along those same lines, I wanted to see what the people thought, what the critics thought about NBA 2K over the years. I started by simply asking Google, what are the most popular video game ranking sites out there? I'll reference this snippet from Google. It says several websites are popular for video game rankings and reviews. Metacritic is a well-known site that aggregates reviews and various critics, providing a metascore for each game. OpenCritic is another platform that focuses on aggregating critic reviews, aiming to provide a more transparent and less controversial alternative to Metacritic. Now, for me personally, and for a lot of other players out there, some of the most beloved NBA 2Ks start at NBA 2K16 and 17. In my opinion, the downward spiral of NBA 2K gameplay started in NBA 2K21. Ironically, NBA 2K21 was the first NBA 2K that was released on next-gen consoles, and it was the very first game in the entire gaming industry to increase their price from the standard pricing of $60, raised it to $70. That's right, NBA 2K was the very first to raise their price up. I imagine most 2K players were thinking, well, it's on next-gen consoles, and the developers were saying at that time that because next-gen consoles are more powerful than the older gen consoles, NBA 2K would be able to provide more. It was one of the reasons why The City wasn't released on old-gen consoles. At least at that time, that was their excuse. I personally hold a strong opinion that gameplay has regressed steadily since the release of NBA 2Ks on new-gen consoles. Monetization has become way more aggressive, while gameplay and gameplay development has seemingly regressed. And I understand those are strong words, it's a strong opinion, but I don't want you guys to just take my word for it. I decided to go on these ranking websites that we referenced just a little while ago, Critic and Metacritic. I started at NBA 2K16 and worked my way up looking at all the critic scores and user scores from 2K16 to 2K25. Y'all not gonna believe what we found out. I ended up creating this graphic on Photoshop, displaying all the critic scores and user scores through OpenCritic and Metacritic. I compiled all the images to make it easier to digest and display to you guys. Let's start at the very top with NBA 2K25. The Metacritic scores, they're listed on the left side, and the OpenCritic scores are listed on the right. NBA 2K25 is rated a 79, and through OpenCritic is rated a 75. The user scores, the player scores, for NBA 2K25 through Metacritic is rated a 4.8, labeled as generally unfavorable. And as you guys see on the right side, only 53% of critics recommend NBA 2K25. And you guys see the little grayed out circle that says player ratings, and you see how it's grayed out 9 of 20. I wanted to reach out to you guys and ask if you have an opportunity to go to opencritic.com, create an account, it's free, and leave your rating for NBA 2K25. As of right now, NBA 2K25 needs 11 more user ratings in order for it to be applied to NBA 2K25. Whether you enjoy NBA 2K25 or dislike it, head on over to OpenCritic and leave your thoughts. Sometimes us sports gamers, we get caught up in our own little bubble and we don't take the time to offer these type of reviews. And these are the reviews that are most important and will help to keep 2K on their toes, putting their best foot forward for every single annual cycle that they choose to charge us top dollar for a video game that at best is mediocre or subpar. From NBA 2K25, let's scroll down to some of the more fan favorite 2Ks that were released over the years, starting with NBA 2K16. By the way, I'll have this infographic on my X page, so if you guys want to copy it, screenshot it, go on over and follow me on X at AllCity Live TV. We just showed you guys that NBA 2K25 was rated a 79 through Metacritic and a 75 on OpenCritic. When we go to some of our fan favorites like NBA 2K16, you see it's rated an 87 through Metacritic and is rated an 84 through OpenCritic. Scrolling up, we're not gonna make this long-winded. 2K17 is rated an 88 through Metacritic and 88 on OpenCritic as well. And even one of the worst 2Ks ever released in 2K history, NBA 2K18, is rated an 80. That's 1 point higher than NBA 2K25 that's released on new gen consoles that are supposed to provide players with so much more. On OpenCritic is also rated an 80, higher than the 75 rating for NBA 2K25. NBA 2K19 had to make up for the sour reputation that NBA 2K left on 2K players. So NBA 2K19 rated an 82, that's through Metacritic, and an 81 on OpenCritic. As you guys see in NBA 2K20, it dropped 2 points. And I remember this time, this is mainly because NBA 2K20 was outright a copy and paste of NBA 2K19. Although NBA 2K20 is much more appreciated now, a lot of players at that time didn't like how similar it was to NBA 2K19. Players were complaining that there was a lack of effort on 2K's behalf and they're charging us for a whole new game. Now take a look at NBA 2K21. Like I mentioned earlier, it is my strong opinion that 2K started its downward spiral in NBA 2K21. I have been preaching this for the longest time, and ironically, it was the first game to increase its price from $60 to $70. The standard price was $60. NBA 2K decided to raise it an additional $10. And look at this, NBA 2K21, the absolute worst rated NBA 2K in 2K history, is rated a 68 on Metacritic and is also rated a 68 on OpenCritic. And by the way, NBA 2K19 is the last time that you'll see an NBA 2K game with a rating over an 80. As you guys are gonna see, we're gonna kind of go through this fairly quickly. NBA 2K22 rated a 76 on both Metacritic and OpenCritic. NBA 2K23 rated a 78. NBA 2K24 competing with NBA 2K21, the lowest rated 2Ks in 2K history, rated a 68. and NBA 2K25 rated a 79. Now, a lot of players believe that it's nostalgia that keep players tied to some of the older versions of 2K. Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. Since the heyday of NBA 2K with NBA 2K16, there has not been one 2K release that can match the numbers of the older versions of 2K like NBA 2K16, 17, or even 18 and 19. And when we look at the ratings released on new gen consoles, you have it starts with the absolute lowest rating of a 68, then you get to 76, 78, back to 68, and the highest rating on next-gen consoles with NBA 2K25 coming in at 79. Now you guys tell me, is that a player thing? Players stuck in nostalgia, or is that a 2K thing? 2K putting less and less efforts into developing good gameplay. I didn't know I was gonna see these numbers upon review while I was compiling all these images and creating that infographic. Numbers that match my exact sentiment to a T about the 2K franchise. So I ask you guys once again, bringing it back full circle, is it possible that the college licensing committee saw these exact same numbers, noticed that 2K is selling tremendously, and is this public information? I oftentimes review 2K's earnings reports right here on this channel. They're breaking sales records left and right, but the critic and user scores do not reflect what the sales indicate. If I was on that committee review board for the college licensing company, I would have to say there's something fishy going on. The players and critics aren't happy, but 2K is swimming in money. The numbers on both ends, from earnings and through user and critic scores, along with the news media outlets, tell a tale that 2K is in the business of manipulating players to spend more money. They don't seem to be in the business of making their player base happy. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the college licensing committee has the interests of the player base in mind, keeping the player base happy when they think of college sports. This will in turn lead them to learn more about different college teams and different college players. Exactly what I imagine the college licensing committee wants. But as always, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this stuff. If any of you guys are new here, consider dropping a like and a sub. On your way out, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Easy, y'all. If you guys are tired of running with randoms and you're looking for players to run with on NBA 2K, come on out and join the AllCity 2K Discord. The link will be in the description below. Find players and get runs now. Drop a like and drop a sub on your way out. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Easy, y'all.